act only according to that maxim by which you can at the same time will that it should become a universal law. With these words from his groundwork for the metaphysics of morals, Immanuel Kant erects the centerpiece of his ethical theory, the categorical imperative. Unlike hypothetical imperatives, if you want X, do Y, the categorical imperative commands unconditionally, regardless of desires or consequences. It binds every rational being to duties that respect the autonomy and dignity of others. At its core, Kant's moral absolutism insists on two immutable principles. First, universality. You must never will an action whose guiding principle you cannot consistently will as a universal law. Lying, for example, fails this test. If everyone lied whenever convenient, trust would vanish, and the very concept of promise or truth would collapse. Second, humanity as an end in itself. You must treat humanity, whether in your own person or in the person of another, always as an end and never merely as a means. This seals the injunction against manipulative or exploitative behavior. But the rigor of Kantian ethics courts controversy. Critics ask, what if telling the truth condemns an innocent person to death? Must the apocalyptic consequences of rigid honesty override compassion? Kant's own reply is stark. Duties are categorical. One cannot calculate exceptions. To do so would reduce morality to a matter of preference, undermining the very rational basis of ethical law. Yet many find this uncompromising stance cold or even dangerous when weighed against real-world dilemmas. Moreover, Kant's separation of motive from outcome raises questions. He values the goodwill, the intention to act out of duty, even if the action brings little benefit. Meanwhile, well-intentioned efforts that achieve great good, but arise from mixed motives, fall short of moral perfection. This emphasis on inner purity troubles those who believe that consequences, not just intentions, define moral worth. Despite the debates, Kant's legacy endures in modern human rights discourse. His insistence on treating individuals as ends underpins the Universal Declaration of Inalienable Rights. His vision of a kingdom of ends, where rational agents legislate and obey moral law together, informs contemporary theories of justice and democratic legitimacy. Engaging with Kant forces us to confront moral clarity at the expense of comfort. It demands we ask whether there are lines we cannot cross, even if crossing them would seem to serve a greater good. It challenges utilitarian calculations that sacrifice the few to save the many. In Kant's world, respect for rational agency is not negotiable. So when you face your next ethical crossroads, whether in business, politics, or personal life, ask, could I will this maxim as universal law? Am I treating every person as an end, not merely as a means? In wrestling with Kant, you test the limits of your own moral convictions, and in doing so, you glimpse the austere dignity of a philosophy that dares to demand the unconditional.